Welcome, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for coming. We will get started in just a few minutes, or a couple, more like two. It looks like we've got some new organizations using our service this evening. I don't see any supporters from the new organizations. Just one more minute, guys, and then we'll get started.
Do you want us to update our names with our organization?
No, we're actually gonna get started and do introductions, and you'll be able to say who you're here to support in just a minute. But thanks for asking. If your name doesn't reflect your actual name, then that'd be cool. So I could call you by name. Are you John?
Yes, I am.
Nice. Me too. I'm actually changing my name right now so it reflects my name. There we go.
Perfect. Thanks.
Cool. So we're going to get started in just 30 seconds here. If you guys would, see if you could turn your cameras on and unmute. We're going to, unless there's just a ton of background noise, it'll be a fun conversation, and it's way more pleasurable to be able to see our fellow humans' faces. Cool. Thanks for joining us, John.
Yeah, thank you.
So the Chases. Oh, I see. John Chase. I don't know why you're blue on here. You came to support the American
Victory Division.
Yeah, American Victory Division.
I might be blue because I'm calling in from a different number than what I gave you guys. I'm using my other phone.
Okay. Yeah, and there's another name for the organization instead of the American Victory Division. Oh, Sea Cadets.
Yes. Yep, that's what it is.
Okay, but you guys aren't the same group as that Master Sergeant Will Robinson runs. This is an outside group?
Yeah, where's he out of?
Well, he's running the ROTC group, the Sea Cadets. He's the Sickles ROTC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not familiar.
Okay. Well, we're glad you're here, and we're happy to support the Sea Cadets, and we're going to get started now. So, Trey, I'm going to make you co-host so you can handle anybody who's trying to come in as we're doing introductions. But guys, thanks for being here. My name's John Carey. I am a co-founder of Ovanova, and I'm working on this project for the last 6 years with my partner, Lester Crafton, who's this guy right here. You guys missed out on a treat. Lester's not with us this evening, but he's normally emceeing these events. Is there anybody here that cannot see the dinosaurs in the Ovanova team on the screen? Everybody's able to see the screen. Cool. Well, again, thanks for coming. This is Team Ovanova. Lester and myself are the co-founders. Luke and Holly are the ones that put together those custom solar designs that you guys should have received today or yesterday. If you haven't, check your email, probably in your spam box if it hasn't already shown up. So please let us know if you didn't get that. That's our gift to you, is a custom solar design for you, showing you where the panels could go and how much it could cost if you went solar. And then there's one person that's with us live tonight who's not on the screen that's a member of Team Ovanova, and I'm going to let him start the introductions by introducing himself. Go ahead, Trey.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? I am Trey Weaver. I am part of Team Ovanova. Maybe one day I'll get the sake of having my picture put up in there. But right now I'm here to support you all. And support solar energy and the education of knowing solar energy and all the wonderful organizations that are here for you all to support. Thanks for showing up. John Kerry is an amazing individual. He's very intelligent. He cares a lot about people, humanity, and solar energy.
Thanks, Trey. So here's how intros are going to go. And this is the easiest fundraiser in the history of fundraisers. So how you generate a $50 donation for the organization that you came here to support is by being here on camera, not driving, and introducing yourself. So pretty easy. All right. Most of you guys are already there. So here's how we do introductions. Name, where you're at in the world, who you came here to support, and your thoughts on why you think more humans are not using solar already. So Lindsay, would you lead us off? You get to pick who goes next as well, Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm supporting the Parkview High School Marching Band. And why I think more humans aren't using solar, honestly, because they're expensive to install. Solar panels. There's too many trees in my house. I don't know.
Awesome. Lindsay, thank you for sharing. Oh, you just muted. You had something else to say?
I said we have too many trees, but I'm excited to learn.
Cool. Well, we're glad you're here, and we appreciate you sharing your thoughts. Now, would you mind picking who's next? Who you'd like to hear from next that's in the group?
Yes, I see one of my friends is here, Miss Janice West. So I want her to go next. Hi, Miss West.
Hello. Yes, I'm unmuted. So yes, I am actually Janice West. I stole my husband's computer for the night. And why do people not use solar? I would agree, probably they're afraid of the cost and they just haven't gotten around to looking at it. I think my son is actually interested in solar for his new home.
Super cool. Janice, thanks for coming. Are you also supporting Parkview?
I am, absolutely. Parkview Marching Band.
Ooh, okay.
We got cute babies.
Are you guys related?
No.
Just fellow humans
I was
and
going to
friends.
say, nope, we're just all volunteers that support good kids. And actually, we're interested in the solar panel. So here we are.
Well, we were just so glad that you came. And Janice, who would you like to hear from next that's in the audience?
I'm going to take Steve.
Sure. Hi, I'm
Steve. Unmute.
Yep. Nope. I'm not on mute anymore. No complaints about my voice. So, we're in Land O'Lakes, Florida, which is a couple of rocks throws from Tampa, north of there. I'm here with, you can probably see him in the background there. That's Matthew, my son, for Sun Lake High School marching band. So I'm Steve Herlocker. That's my son, Matt Herlocker, for Sun Lake High School marching band.
Fantastic. Thank you guys for coming, Steve and Matt. Yeah.
Why don't more people use solar? I would say there is a duration to the recovery of the cost, right? So I actually did read the presentation that you sent, and it can take 10 years or whatever it is. So that's part of the duration of the investment that it takes.
Very cool. Thank you for sharing and for being here, Stephen and Matthew. And who would you like to hear from next?
Let's see here. I guess that leaves us with John Chase, maybe.
Sure, I can. Hey, I'm John Chase. I am I'm currently in Nebraska right now, but I'm actually from just north of Steve, a few miles. We're right on the border of Land O'Lakes and Spring Hill, so really close down there. I'm here to support the American Victory Sea Cadets, and as we said before, there's Sea Cadets out of Tampa, Florida, and I have to agree with everybody else on why you don't use solar is because of cost. And same thing that I was going to say, the same thing that Steve did about the longevity for the payoff. It takes 10 to 30 years. I guess it depends on when you get your money back on that. Also, another thing for me that's been kind of a downfall for solar is we have some friends that have it, and they say that when they lose power, even though they have solar, they still don't get power. So you have to, go the extra length, I guess, and install back a battery bank or something in your house. You don't just automatically get power just because it's sunny out if the power grid is out. So that's kind of a turn down, I guess you would say, but that's all I got.
Thank you for sharing, John. And all of you, seriously, thanks for coming. This is, so just to be clear, if you guys came here only for the fundraiser and you see that cat on the screen, everybody see that cat?
Yep.
So we're done with that. So $50 is going to the Sea Cadets, $100 to Parkview Heights. And Steve, you guys came here to support the band. Is that what you said?
Yes, that's correct. Sun Lake High School band.
Okay, so yeah, I have it in a spreadsheet, so we're not going to make a mistake. But I was just verifying. So super cool. Thank you guys for showing up. Just for before you guys came, you should have gotten earlier today an email with a solar design. Did anybody not see that? Just out of curiosity.
I don't think I did, but I do get a lot of emails every day, and looking through it, I don't see one anywhere now. So it's possible I deleted it, but sorry.
No, you've nothing to apologize for. And like, does your email start with TO dot?
Yeah, that would be the one.
Okay, so it's probably in your spam box. It looks like it was created. We're making a note right now. It's very possible that it got hung up in your spam box, or it just never made it. But Trey can probably make sure that gets there in the next 5 minutes. He's working on it right now. So thanks for saying something, John. Anybody else not see anything? Okay, cool. Well, that's the first thing we want to let you know, is that we did send you a solar design. To be really clear, it is based on what you told us you thought your average electricity bill was. So I just want to make sure that everybody's real clear. The cost of solar is dependent on how many panels you need. And how many panels you need is dependent on how much electricity you need to produce. So if you were off a little bit on your guess about your average electricity, then our first quote might be off a little bit. But either way, because you guys came tonight, we're going to send you an open book pricing spreadsheet tomorrow. And all that is, guys, is going to be a breakdown of that cost that we sent you, where it shows you how much every single piece of your solar will cost, how much we earn if you went solar. And this isn't your design, this is just a template, so these numbers are just random. But how much it costs to manage the project, interconnect you with your utility company, do your engineered drawings, pull your permits at the local county, how much the actual electricians and roofers get paid, how much we have built in just in case something comes up during your project. We call it the imperfect information fund, which is returned to you if it's not needed, how much the panels cost, and all the other pieces of the solar, like mounting it to your roof, the inverters, the shipping, all the pieces of the puzzle. So you're going to get this open book pricing tomorrow. So you already have a design. If not, Trey's working on that right now. Sounds like John's the only one who didn't get one. So either way, this is just our gift to you guys. We want people to know that solar makes sense. And the only way they wouldn't know is if somebody didn't tell them. So thank you guys for showing up. And now, John, it seems like your audio is working well. And if you wouldn't mind unmuting and having this conversation with me about the cost. It's nice to ask semi-rhetorical questions and have a real human have a conversation. And so nobody's questioning who I'm speaking with. Are you okay being the guinea pig for this?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, thanks for playing. So,
yeah.
So Lindsay said expensive to install. Janice said afraid of the cost. And then both you and Steve mentioned duration of the ROI. So I just want to cover cost right off the bat. So is anybody not aware that you can go solar without spending anything up front? have the panels activated, installed, and warranted for 25 years without any costs up front. Does anybody have any, is that news to anybody, or is everybody clear on that part?
There used to be like federal grants or something at some point, wasn't there? Is that what you're talking about?
It's actually not what I'm talking about, but there is still a 26% federal tax credit. It's going on for the next couple of years. And so that means that the federal government will give you a tax credit for 26% of the total cost of the system. So let's say it costs 10 grand, then $2,600 is going to be a federal tax credit for you. So I don't know if you're a W-2 type employee or if you're a 1099, but the tax credit goes on your final number on your taxes. So if you were a 1099 and you owed the government $2,600 at the end of the year, then you owe them nothing. If you're a W-2 and the government owes you $4 grand back at the end of the year, then they're going to write you a check for $6,600. So it's actually a big deal. It's 26% of the total cost of the system. So if you spend more, then the tax credit's larger, and it's not like a writing off miles. It's actually a legit, bottom line number. So okay. So it sounds like nobody's heard of this.
I've heard a little bit about it, but as soon as they talk about it, then all of a sudden they start calling and berate me so often that I just turn off and don't listen anymore.
Totally. It sounds like a gimmick, and
Right.
Nobody really enjoys to be sold on things. So I totally get where you're coming from. So let me ask you this. Has anybody here gotten an iPhone without spending any money? They just gave it to you and you pay for it monthly?
No.
Really? Okay. So you bought your phone, John? You paid cash for it?
Well, I didn't pay for the whole thing, but I paid upfront fees to get it. I didn't just walk out of the store without paying a thing.
Okay. Well, that's how I've done it for the last 6 phones. I've gone through quite a few, but so essentially this is not a gimmick. It's 100% just a financing thing. You can have your solar installed on your home and activated, meaning it will be producing electricity without spending anything up front, and then just have a monthly cost to pay for your solar. So I just want to, that's the first thing when it says expensive to install that Lindsay mentioned. Lindsay, did you, oh, sorry. I'm just curious because people always think the upfront cost is an issue, and we just want it to be really clear that you can go solar without spending anything up front. Now, as far as the ongoing cost, has anybody here that solar saves people money? You guys ever heard that?
After it's paid off.
Okay. So this is an actual, just a misunderstanding. So I'm going to try to be as clear as possible and break this down, but John, ask any questions, try to uncover anything. We have nothing to hide here. This is a community sourced conversation to try to dispel misinformation in the industry and what's going on. So I was going to ask Lindsay, because she seems like somebody who's, Lindsay, are you with us? I don't think we're coming through. So, okay. So
Hey,
John,
one second for a second. Hey, John, so I'm trying to build your design right now. I have a question. Are you the house on the corner? Or are you the second house on the corner?
Second house.
Okay.
Then. Yep.
Great. Good to know. All right.
So maybe that's why you didn't get a design earlier today. It's because
my neighbors got my design.
So, okay. So now we know that for no upfront costs, we can go solar and have the system activated. And John, if the system's producing electricity, then who do you not have to pay for electricity anymore? Like, who do you not have to pay to buy your electricity?
I would guess the electric company, right?
Right. So it's like if you had chickens in your backyard, you don't have to pay the grocery store for eggs anymore.
Right.
So this is one thing to get clear on for you and Steve when it comes to the return on your investment. When will you get a return on your investment with your utility company?
Well, never.
Okay. So do you see how it seems like an interesting question to try to compare something like your electricity bill to owning solar panels? That's like comparing apples to oranges or rent to a mortgage.
But it is, but so I'll use my friends down the street as an example, and I don't know what panels they have or anything, but they went solar. And because this is going to be their forever home, they're going to retire here, they're going to live here forever. They're vested completely in it. So now they have these panels that they put on their roofs or on the roof, and they're paying a fee that is equal to exactly what they paid when they had electric. Because just like you guys said, what is your average? So they did that. Their average is $200 a month. So now they pay $200 a month to pay off their solar until it's paid off. And their estimate is 12 to 15 years, somewhere in there. So then they'll get their return on investment, like you were saying. And yeah, the electric company will never ever give you that, but they're paying this much money. And if it's for me, if it's a house that I don't know for sure I'm going to stay in, it's hard to invest that much because there is no return on that just to sell it. Like it doesn't make your value much more for your house. It's not a return.
So this is wonderful stuff, and thank you for bringing this up, John. So first of all, we could address what you just said, which is if you went solar, you don't get a return. You know people who have went to sell their house, and before they did, they put new floors in and painted the house.
Yep.
And they did that because there was a return on that investment, right? They were going to sell the house for more than it cost them to paint it and put new floors in.
So they hoped, yes.
Right. Well, otherwise they wouldn't have done those improvements, right? I mean, that's the goal. It doesn't make sense to invest 10 grand doing that and sell it for 5 grand more.
Right.
So with solar, it depending on how much you pay for it, because if you overpay for solar, there's only a certain value increase. But would you agree that if you installed a miniature power plant on your house, that it would increase the value?
Yes.
Well,
you would think, yeah.
Well, so don't take my word for it. If you Google what happens to the value of my house if I go solar, there's about 50 different resources from Berkeley Lab studies to Zillow studies. They all say the same exact thing. The value will go up and your house will sell faster. The only difference is the numbers change as far as how much the value will increase and how much faster it will sell.
Right.
But all of the studies say the same thing. So just want to be real clear. If you're a homeowner like your neighbors who spend $200 a month on their electricity usage, and then somebody bought their house, that means that house comes with no electricity. But when they sell that house, all they're going to do is pay off their solar loan with the money that they earn from selling the house. So the new homeowner doesn't have a solar payment and doesn't have an electricity bill. So you could see why it would be a ridiculous savings for that new homeowner, because $200 a month is how much a year are they saving to live in that house?
That's a lot. It's
$2,400. Yeah. And after a decade, that's 24 grand. And after 20 years, that's 48 grand. So it's just a different paradigm of thinking about it. Because let me ask you, do you ever intend on not using electricity?
Well, I intend on it all the time, but we don't do it. No.
Right. But you're always going to have a fridge, right?
Yes.
So it's not like, so when you pick up a debt to have a loan to pay off your solar equipment, you might have this fear of being in debt, but in actuality, you're investing in your property, raising the value, paying yourself a mortgage to own your energy rather than renting it for the rest of your life. And there's no way ever that you're going to let the lights go off in that home.
Right.
So if you already know you have a never ending debt to the utility company, why would you continue to pay another month into a hole where you burn your money paying the utility company rent, rather than be paying yourself $200 a month or whatever the number happens to be to own equipment that makes your house more valuable, causes it to sell faster, and if you decide to install batteries, as you mentioned, actually give you resiliency in the event of a hurricane or where the utility company is no longer able to provide electricity to you. You've gone from relying on a power plant 150 miles away to being your own production and storage facility. So it's just a new paradigm to think about energy, rather than, because an ROI, if you really want to know when you have an ROI on your solar, all you have to do is say, well, I guess it's the day it's installed and activated because I've added more value to my home than it cost me to install it. That's when your ROI happens, day one. But you'll never get your ROI on your electricity bill is negative 100%.
I agree. But there's also the unknown variables too. And it's the same reason why somebody keeps their Wi-Fi router that they get from the AT&T or Charter, whoever you have. It's because you don't know the fees. Like, how long do those panels last before you got to change them out? Same thing with the batteries. If you go with a battery bank, are you having to change that out every 4 or 5 years because your batteries will go bad? Like, it's unknown variables. It's just why people stick with what they know. And if something goes wrong with that line that's coming into my house, well, I'm paying rent on the electricity, but they need to come fix that. And that's not a cost to me. I mean, of course it's floated down the line, but initially up front, and to myself, it's not a known entity.
Totally. And thank you for bringing that up. And that's the stuff that has held solar back from mass adoption, is the black boxes and unknowns like you're describing. So it looks like Lindsay's back with us. Lindsay, are you with us?
Sorry. No, go ahead.
No, it's good. I just had a question for her because she seems like she might have done the same thing that most of my friends have done with their iPhones. But when you got your smartphone, did you go to the store and get the smartphone, or without paying like $1,000 for it, or did you actually buy the phone with cash? So they basically handed you a phone and you just paid for it monthly until it was paid for, right? Okay, just now that you guys know that happens in the world and it's a normal thing, it'd probably be easy to believe that that's exactly how going solar works in 2021. People have their solar panels installed on their home, activated, they're generating electricity, and then they start to pay monthly for it. They don't pay like a big upfront cost unless they choose to. Like, some people put a down payment on their car or their home, but with solar, you don't have to. So I just want to be clear about that. So Steve, how much, or Steve, John, anybody can answer this. How much do you have to pay to get your solar installed and activated?
So what I hear you say, it's 100% financing. So there's no upfront cost. And what you would end up doing is it's essentially a lien that you pay off.
Exactly, zero. Now, if you're an accountant and you have cash in the bank, it is 100% smarter to pay cash. Without question, smarter to pay cash. But you could pay zero down and finance it month to month and still save money day one. And I just want to be really clear. So how would that be possible? Let me give you guys a simple example, and most of you guys are in this boat. So here's a simple example of this. So here's a person who can produce 102% of their electricity from the sunshine. Have you done John's design yet, Trey? How much can he produce from the sun?
Right now I have 98%, and John, I'm sure we could get a more accurate understanding of exactly what your average electrical bill is, and we could easily get 100% offset.
Yeah. So Steve, if you chose the expensive financing option, if you chose not to pay cash, but you said, you know what, I'm going to use somebody else's money and do it zero down, you can produce 101% of your energy from the sunshine, and you would save $35 right off the bat. So same thing here. This person is paying, they have 102%. They were paying Duke, sorry about that. They were, where did I go here? Okay. They were paying Duke $127 a month for the energy portion of their bill. There's a fixed cost, just like John said, they're connected to the power lines and they pay to maintain the power lines. So this is just going to stay. So their total bill is $139, but how much they pay for the electricity units they buy is $127. Their solar payment is $90. So how much is this person saving right off the bat by going solar? Can anybody see the difference? Matthew, can you see the difference here? The difference between what they were paying for their energy and what they're paying now?
Yes, and I was actually explaining to him what you're saying. So
super cool. Yeah. So what is the savings for this specific person?
So in this case, you're still going to have to pay $12 a month for the cost of the lines. What's actually happening is that you're selling 102% of your energy that you produce back, or at 127. So you're probably going to, what is that, 130 something. So what actually happens is you sell 130 something dollars back to Duke. You still got to pay 12, but then there's your net utility bill. New utility bill is, the cost of the lines is $12.
So yes, Duke is, if you want to stay connected to the utility company, which is most people do, then Duke charges $12. Like Tico charges like $8.34. Florida Power and Light charges $15. Everybody has a different fixed cost to stay connected to the utility grid. And then there's the cost for the amount of electricity you buy. Well, because you can produce 102% of your electricity from sunshine, that cost goes away completely. That's gone. That rent, that never ending, always escalating electricity bill you would have until the day you die, is gone. Now, the solar payment is what you choose it to be. When you guys bought your house, Janice, did you choose a 15 or a 30-year mortgage?
We went 15
Okay. And why'd you choose that?
because it was not that much difference in the payment, and we got through paying for it a lot faster.
And you saved a bunch in
Able-
financing
We
costs, right?
saved a bunch of finance, and yes.
Right. And so everybody has different financial goals, guys, but you can choose the term for your solar loan, and that determines the payment. This person chose 21 years. You can choose 5 years if you want. But if you chose a term that's 21 years, most people are like, I was never going to pay off my electricity bill. 21 years sounds rad. And if I sell my home before the 20 years is up, then all I do is take the money that I earn from selling my home and pay off the rest of my loan, whatever that is. Just like if you sold your house and you owed 50 grand on it still, you would just use what you earned from selling the house to pay off the remainder of your mortgage. So this person is saving $37 a month right up front without spending anything down. They have an end date to their energy costs. Their value of their home goes up, and they have the option to be more energy resilient, meaning that if the power lines are damaged, they have an option to keep the lights on if they chose their batteries. And that's what you're going to get tomorrow, is you're actually going to get that open book pricing that shows you the standard option, which is what John was talking about earlier. That's the option his neighbors chose, which is your most money savings. If the power goes out on the power lines, the solar doesn't work. Or the battery option, where you can actually keep your solar and your house going because you have batteries to be able to store the electricity. John, did they ever explain to you why the power won't work even if the sun is shining if you have solar?
No.
Okay, well, Steve actually told us earlier. Remember when he said that you'd be selling energy back?
Oh, right.
So what happens is during the day, you actually feed your house's energy box and produce excess. And you have a bidirectional meter that counts up all the excess credits that you sell back to the utility company. And now, if the power lines are broken, what do you hope people are doing to the power lines?
Fixing them.
And if you're overproducing and sending energy back onto the lines, what could you do if somebody's out here trying to fix them? You could hurt them, right?
Yeah, you get backfeed.
Yep, I've got a video if you want to see what that looks like. But that's why solar has solar inverters have safety equipment on them. If they don't sense a signal from the utility grid, they will actually shut down for the safety of the line workers. So you're not overproducing and backfeeding. And that's why even if the sun is shining, if the grid is down, your solar is down. If you chose a battery option, which is totally optional, you do not need a battery to benefit from the savings of solar energy. But if you chose one, then whenever the utility grid is down, you can have a microgrid in your home, and it's a closed loop. The solar will produce, it will feed your house, whatever excess charges your battery. And then at night you feed off your battery until the sun comes back up. That'll then run your home and recharge your battery. And it's a closed loop. It opens the circuit to the utility grid, so your excess energy doesn't flow onto the power lines, but it goes into your battery. So if you're the type of person who likes to have a generator or likes to have electricity to keep the fridge cold and the lights on when nobody else has it, then you could add a battery and it's no problem. And you'll have that number and that cost and savings as well in your inbox tomorrow. So either way, really good question. So did that bring up any other questions based on what we just talked about?
Well, kind of, but I don't want to get off course too much. I'm sure there's different things for it. I was going to ask how big is this battery bank? How much how long will it last? Where's it located? But I'm sure there's a whole different stuff you could choose from.
You're 100% correct. And so in your open book pricing, it's going to have all your specific numbers. It's actually going to have your house, your design, your environmental impact. We start you off with 20 kilowatt hours of storage. The batteries information is all down here. So if you wanted less storage or more storage, you can see how much that would cost. We don't mark up any solar equipment. You pay what we pay. So your prices are all dealer prices. And this compares like the Tesla Powerwall and the Generac battery and all the options on the market to the one that we chose. So if you want to do your own research, we can access any equipment that you like, John. There's a reason why we chose this military grade inverter. It's the one that preppers use, and I'll be happy to nerd out with you as long as you want and talk about location and all that. When you get this sheet, there's a link like this on every page. You can click it and click this. And what it will do is it will let you pick a day and a time that's comfortable for you. And we'll Zoom one-on-one, and we can actually look at your house. You can go, you know what, John, I don't want panels here. No problem. I'll get rid of them for you. Or, you know what, John, we want these type of panels. We want the all black panels. We want them on the garage. We can do it any way that you want. You can get a solar pergola if you want with bifacial solar panels that let light pass through. You can get the least expensive old school silver ones on the ground if you don't want them on the house. Or you can do what most of our customers do, which is get all black solar panels that are super low profile and are super close to the roof. You can even get camouflage solar panels where you can take a picture of what your roof looks like and we can actually match that to the solar panels. So you can get whatever you want. And that's what we're about, is making sure that you guys are aware that currently you are, Steve, you're losing $35 a month right now paying rent rather than paying mortgage. And that's just the name. I know it sounds kind of crazy, guys, but technology advances. All this stuff, a camcorder was really cool back in the day, but now you can record in HD on your phone. A boombox was awesome, but now we have Bluetooth speakers that connect to our unlimited song list inside of our iPhone, right? We can generate electricity from free sunshine using a piece of technology that the United States invented in 1954. Solar panels have been around for 67 years. The first solar panels, John, they're still working. So remember earlier when you asked, like, how long do they last? We actually don't know how long solar panels last because the first ones still function, but the shortest warranty on a new solar panel is 25 years. So you guys, it probably makes sense that maintenance is just a part of things as a homeowner. It's like maintaining things, right? I'm sorry if I'm boring you, Janice. I saw you yawn. Well, no problem. So you're muted, by the way, so I can't hear you. I asked to mute, but
You're really not boring me. I'm listening. I just have to yawn to clear the ear.
Oh, no problem. I wasn't saying anything negative, but so would it make sense to you with your experience in life that something that is manufactured one time and then set in place one time and has no moving parts at all wouldn't need any maintenance?
Makes sense.
I mean, what would you do to them? You know what I mean? I guess you could clean them if you wanted to, but then it rains.
I have a question because I have friends in Texas when all of the snow came through and they had like 6-8 inches of snow on their solar panels. And their statement was it stopped all of their electricity. What could they have done?
So great question. There's a couple things. If, you know, in Texas, when all that happened, the utility grid shut down, right? Mm-hmm. So if they didn't have batteries, they couldn't have done anything.
Right?
So
because batteries is the answer, is what you're saying.
Well, but if they had batteries and they didn't uncover their solar panels, then they couldn't have done anything anyway.
Okay.
But one of our customers down there in Texas, he said, you know what? I'm just going to get up there and use a broom on my panels so I can have lights. And it was a big deal for him, right? When that was a pretty serious situation down there in Texas.
Yeah.
And so wouldn't it be nice to know that if you really wanted to turn the fridge and the lights on, you could actually do something about it rather than wait on someone else?
Yes.
And so we're talking about a piece of equipment that, again, the first ones are working 67 years later, has 0 moving parts, and it operates off free sunshine. The sun is pretty reliable. Janice, have you woke up ever and it not did its thing? Did the sun come around every day in your life so far?
Yeah, sometimes in Atlanta it's a little overcast, but it eventually shows up.
It does, doesn't it? It's probably the most reliable thing in my life, personally. And so that's the kind of stuff. Again, this is not a sales pitch, guys. You guys are gonna buy electricity for the rest of your lives. I don't have to. You guys are going to be paying for your electricity forever, or you're going to choose to make it yourself at home for less. And the most expensive thing about going solar are the months that you wait before your system is installed and activated. Because think about it, if you guys pay $200 a month, Janice, and you guys wait 6 months to go solar, that's $1,200 you'll have paid your utility company that could have gone into paying off your solar. And it looks like, for some reason, Janice, it says repeat. Did you look this up, Trey, and figure out what Janice's situation is?
Well, it says repeat because maybe they accidentally signed up twice, but we have like a design and everything for them. If you look right above there.
Actually, yeah, that's exactly. When I first signed up, it sent a message back and said, yeah, you can't do that. So I came back and signed up again, and then I was there twice.
So can Janice get 100% of her electricity from sunshine?
I can get 200 because I signed up twice, and I'm going to get 2 pounds.
Yes, you can get. You can. Well, the design that we built says 98%, but like whenever it says 98%, like rest assured we could find a way for it to probably be 100% offset. And in the current design that you have, you would save $21.07 a month if you got an easy solar loan, and
meaning 0 down.
Yeah.
If you have money sitting in a savings account earning low interest or no interest, it is without question way more financially intelligent to buy your solar in cash than use a solar loan, because you could just pay yourself the interest rate you were going to pay the bank. And Janice, it sounds like you guys already understand financing to that level. Otherwise, you would have chose a 30-year mortgage, right?
Right.
So, but that's totally up to you. I'm not here to tell you how you should pay for it. I'm just here to tell you that there's a technology now that it's been around for 67 years that runs off free sunshine and is less expensive. And y'all are all smart folks. Everybody here has been paying attention. And I mean, Steve's over there giving Matthew a lesson while I'm teaching him, which is cool. And so everybody here is real smart. What do you guys think costs more? Paying people to go to work every day, to burn pieces of the planet, to boil water, to make steam, to generate electricity 200 miles from your house, or to manufacture a solar panel one time, mostly out of sand, and then run it off free sunshine where you live? We lose half of the electricity just sending it to your house, the transmission. That's why the utility company, guys, is willing to buy your energy from you, because when you're overproducing during the day, all they're doing is buying it from you and selling it to your closest neighbors, because they're making out like bandits. Normally, they would have to produce it 200 miles away and then sell it to your neighbors and lose half of it on the way. Instead, they're getting it from next door and selling it for full price to your neighbors. Pretty cool. So what kind of questions have come up for you guys? I know this has got to sound too good to be true, but what I'm saying is this. When are you going to get an ROI? Day one. You'll add more equity to your house than the system costs. Google it. If you want to look at it like, how many times am I going to pay my solar payment before I will have paid my utility company that much, and you want to look at ROI as that, well, that determines on how you decide to pay for it. Do you choose a 5-year loan, or do you choose a 25-year loan? And what's your interest rate based on your credit score? That's going to tell you more about what your return on your investment would be if you're looking at it in that way, but it's just not apples to apples. Your electricity bill cannot be compared to your solar payment because one is rent and never ends and always escalates, and one of them is ownership. One of them allows you to generate electricity at home, and one of them is, you know, what you guys are currently doing. So what kind of things can you guys bring up that, I mean, if you knew that zero down, you could use somebody else's money and save money right now, what kind of things would you want to know before you would go, all right, let's do this thing?
I'm stuck on the batteries because that's just how I am, I guess. So, so I'm gonna jump back into a battery question real quick, and I'm assuming, and I'm sure there's different size banks, but you're talking about your friend in Texas that was able, or customer, or whatever, that was able to turn on their lights during the snowstorm and stuff. Is there enough? Are those battery banks big enough that you can turn on your heat, your AC, like full functioning house?
The answer is yes. It
Okay.
costs, based on what you want to run, it costs more. But I don't know what your electrical background is, John, but the battery bank is less important to being able to run those types of appliances than the inverter is, because of
Right.
a battery bank, guys, think of it like a water tank. The bigger the battery bank, the bigger the water tank, right? But the inverter is, think of that like a hose coming out of the water tank. The hose has to be, that's your amps or your current.
Yep.
And your electric heating and things like that have a high amp requirement, a high current requirement. And so it's very possible to take an entire house completely off grid. We have done it for sure. How much it's going to cost you, John, depends on the types of things that you want to operate. And then this is how we do that. So let's say you were like, let's go for it. Well, instead of sending somebody to your house, we can actually save you about $500 just by you taking 9 photographs. You take one of your electrical panel to show us your breakers, one of the main breaker, and we need to be able to see the labels so we know, like, okay, that's a 60 amp breaker, that's your hot water heater, right? That's gonna allow us to do the calculations to tell you exactly how much it's gonna cost to do what you want to do. You're gonna send us a picture of your attic space, so we know if you have 2x4s or 2x6s, and if they're 16 inches apart or 24 inches apart, that's going to let us know how many pounds per square foot your roof can safely hold. So when we pull permits with the county, they go, oh, okay, these guys, they've got their engineering done. They know exactly how many pounds per square foot's going on. We know based on Miami building code that the wind speed requirement's 145 mile an hour. So we know how many attachment points we need to be approved, inspected, and pass those inspections. So we're able to do all of that and save you guys a bunch of money and time having to meet up with somebody coming by your house and putting a mask on. If you just take your iPhone and take a couple quick photographs, we've really figured out how to streamline this process and save you guys a bunch of money. You're not paying sales commissions. You're not paying Google ads or Facebook ads. We're not marking up equipment, and we're not marking up labor. It's actually in your open book pricing exactly how much the contractors will earn for your job. So if you want to do your own install, John, not only are all the steps right here for you to use, but you can actually see what's in the budget to pay you to do your own install. I did my own install, right? So if it's pretty cool. So it's all as customizable as you want it to be. And we also have a turnkey. You don't have to think about anything. The 9 photographs is pretty much the most work you'll do. So do you have any more follow-up questions about the battery setup?
I don't think so. That works for me.
Yeah, so once we have a picture of your electrical panel with the labels, we can tell you exactly how far you would need to go, how many, so each one of these Solarcs, where's it at? Here we go. Each one of these Solarcs, this is a really awesome piece of equipment, but it's the military grade inverter. It can do 9,000 watts AC continuous. And so you might need 2 of those in order to run all the things that you want to run. And that just really depends on you and what you're trying to operate. Most people, though, I'm sure you're familiar, when they have a generator, they're not running their whole house. Most folks have what's called a critical load panel, where they pull off important circuits for their house that they want to have running no matter what, like their fridge and their lights and some outlets. And that's, that doesn't require a big engineering feat. It's super duper common and very inexpensive. A lot of times people can get solar and batteries for about what they're paying the utility company, because that's just how much less expensive it is to buy solar energy. Again, you just got to think about it like this. It's a panel that's manufactured once, sits in one place its entire life, and runs off free sunshine. Like, that's got to make sense that that's less money. And there's 25-year warranties, and we can talk about hail and we can talk about hurricanes, but if any of that stuff happened, the panels have a hail rating. They're actually more resilient than your roof is. But if they were damaged from a crazy hurricane, then you have homeowners insurance that covers your panels, and we actually check on that. That's one of the pictures that you send, is a copy of your homeowners insurance declarations page, so we can make sure that you're covered without modification. So it's all part of a process. Again, solar's been around for 67 years. We figured out how to install it without roofs leaking. Matter of fact, it lengthens the lifetime of your roof, because what wears out the roof and makes it have to be replaced in 30 years anyway is direct sunshine beating down on it day after day after day. You take panels off of a roof after 25 years and the shingles underneath look brand new. So either way, I know I'm yapping a lot here, but I appreciate your guys' listening. What else has come up for you guys?
Yeah, so John, I just want to say thank you. If you, I put some questions that were just curiosity popped into my head along the presentation. I know you've already actually addressed a couple of them, but if you want to check the chat.
Oh, I'm looking at it. Cool. Thanks for typing that in there.
And like I said, you don't have to answer stuff you've already answered. You already talked about insurance, blah, 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 but just making you aware it's there.
So what about HOAs? There's a Supreme Court case. There's precedent for this. Unless your neighborhood is currently still being developed, meaning there are lots that have not been built on, an HOA cannot stop you from going solar. There's precedent for this. It's not even a question. They may ask you to get signatures from neighbors that are adjacent to say, hey, my neighbor's going solar. They might have you jump through hoops, but they cannot stop you. And we can help you navigate that by providing aesthetic designs they can see. A lot of times what they're scared of is, and that they don't know, is they're thinking that something like this is going to be vaulted off your roof. And they're really worried about not maintaining a beautiful neighborhood. And when they see stuff like this, then they're like, oh, wow, that's actually beautiful. Or, they find out that you're installing a solar pergola and they're like, wow, can we get one of those? So things change when people learn things, right? With new information, we can make new decisions. So hurricane wise, does the structural impact mess with the integrity of the roof? So solar panels are not in Miami and Florida areas. The engineering is specifically designed for wind speed. It has nothing at all to do with the weight. Up north, that's what the counties are looking at most, is the pounds per square foot, because you have to add snow load, right? So it's the weight of the snow on the panels that matters there. They don't have high wind speeds, but we specifically build and engineer our systems based on how many attachment points and how many panels on a specific roof plane, based on your specific house and the material it's built with. Are the rafters 2x4s? Are they 2x6s? Are they 24 inches on center, 16 on center? It's, again, we've been doing this for decades, not Ovanova, but solar's been being installed for decades. We've ironed out a lot of those things. Fantastic question. And as far as impacting the integrity, what kind of roof do you have, Steve?
Asphalt shingle, just replaced it about a year and a half ago.
Fantastic. Best time to go solar. So you can attach solar to any type of roof. If there is like here is just a short, I think this is just one of many different manufacturers that make one of many different ways to attach to a shingle roof, but there's standing seam metal, V-rep metal, barrel tile. It doesn't matter what kind of roof you have. A lot of times you don't even have to penetrate the roof any longer. But here's just a short, quick little video to be able to help you see how that attachment goes and how a solar installer can take a
Introducing
day.
FlashFoot, an all-in-one solar mounting product that integrates a flashing, lag bolt, and L-foot into a single assembly. Built for superior structural and waterproofing performance, FlashFoot is tested and certified to international building and residential codes and backed by a 20-year warranty. At the heart of the FlashFoot, a patented bushing provides complete protection against water intrusion. Its exterior compresses within the L-foot cavity, while its interior wraps tightly around the lag bolt. This dual seal is both watertight and shielded from the elements. The seal is complemented with an extra-wide 12-inch by 12-inch flashing layer with an elevated sealing platform to maximize water shedding efficiency. Below the flashing layer, a low distribution plate reinforces the connection between the lag bolt and rafter to increase structural strength. As a result, the FlashFoot achieves dramatically higher shear and uplift performance compared to competing products. FlashFoot was designed for rapid installation. Using the FlashFoot center guide, line up your pilot hole as you slide the flashing between the shingle layers. Then insert the lag bolt through the washer, L-foot, and flashing and tighten until fully seated. The FlashFoot is now installed and ready for Iron Ridge rails. Simply drop the rail into the open slot of the L-foot. Level and tighten the bolts. The installation is now complete. To learn more about Iron Ridge FlashFoot,
And one thing to keep in mind is all of that you just saw is underneath of the panels, not getting any direct sunshine or direct rain. So it's just rain running down the roof over top of that. It's just, we've solved the issues of, structural integrity being damaged unless your installer isn't doing it properly. And we have a whole system for making sure that we're working with people who are competent at their job and have insurances to make sure that if they're not, it gets rectified properly. And we also allow you to work with any contractors that you're comfortable with, you've worked with in the past and would prefer. So you don't want a solar installer. What you want is a roofer on your roof and an electrician doing your electrical work. That's all solar companies do anyway, is they hire roofers for the roof part and electricians for the electrical part, and then they mark up the labor. They buy the equipment and they mark that up. And then they have a sales crew that sells you the solar and they earn a couple grand on top of it. And that's where Ovanova comes in, is because you guys were willing to take some time out of your lives to support something that you guys care about, you get a good person discount. It's like Uber, right? You trust a stranger to give you a ride to an airport, you get there cheaper than taking a taxi. Trust a stranger to stay in your house. Airbnb is less expensive than a hotel, right? All we're doing is partnering with community organizations to reach you guys, taking marketing dollars that are normally given to Facebook and Google and salespeople and giving them to, bands and, the Sea Cadets, et cetera. So again, thank you guys for being the type of folks who are selfless enough to come learn about this. And thank you for being curious tonight. And please do not stop your solar exploration, because if you pull these threads and you unravel these curiosities, what you will find is that solar makes as much sense as having an iPhone. It makes as much sense as taking your car to go get your groceries rather than taking a horse, right? It makes as much sense as sending a text to a friend rather than putting a stamped piece of mail in the mailbox. Technology changes, and people just don't know because we're working so hard and moving so fast, right? So if you guys just take a little bit of time to slow down, you might find out that you are currently losing money month to month, even if you chose an expensive financing option like 0 down. Let's see, there's just a couple more here. Steve asked about insurance rates. So rarely do people have to increase their insurance coverage. The times when you may have to is based on who your utility company is and how many panels that you require. So the bigger your solar array gets, the more coverage you'll need. So it's very specific, but I can tell you in the last few years of doing this, there's only been 3 or 4 instances where we had to modify insurance coverage. But that's what this these pictures are for. If you decide to move forward in the process, you'll be sending us a copy of your homeowner's insurance declarations page, and we'll be able to coach you on whether or not that's necessary. But it's not likely, Steve, but it's possible. How are they repaired? So their solar panels, to my knowledge, are not repaired; they're just replaced. And so if you look at the template, you'll see that a solar panel, if you choose the ones that I put on my house, is about $121 per panel. So that's not super expensive, right? Each panel. Now, each panel, if you choose no batteries, you'll get micro inverters, and each panel needs to be coupled with a micro inverter, which is $105 a piece. But you're not going to have like a panel and a micro inverter go bad. And this is super cool, guys. But when you go solar, you're going to have an app on your phone. I don't know where Lester put the app. Let me find it real quick. Here it is. And this is my app actually for my house, but it will tell you if anything's not working. So if there's a branch that fell on your panels and it's obscuring some of the light, your app will let you know. So it's not only going to show you, it's showing me how much let me pause this. Oh, can I pause it? Okay. So look, it's showing me how much I'm producing at any given moment, where my battery is percentage wise, how much I'm actually selling back to the utility grid. So on my house, how much my house is using at any given moment. So I know I'm using 575 watts in my house. I'm producing 7,980. And so I'm selling back the excess. It shows me my day and my little pie chart showing like my percentage of usage. And then it also will, if you put your numbers in, it'll show you what your ROI is. Like you guys are wondering how long does it take to get an ROI? Keeps a accurate, up-to-date, the weather, it's all in an app. Pretty cool. So you get to keep track of it. If something breaks, you'll know, and so will the manufacturer, so we can take care of it. So either way, hopefully that was helpful as far as how are they repaired. If they do break, we'll know. If something does break, it's likely it's not a panel. That's super, super unlikely. If anything, the like worst thing that could possibly happen is a squirrel chews a wire. And the reason I say that is because it's not covered under the manufacturer's warranty. It doesn't cover squirrels chewing the wires, and it's not covered under your homeowner's insurance. And so it's just one of those random worst case scenarios where like a squirrel chews a wire and it's like, oh, my app is showing me something is wrong. You know, it's not covered by anything. And as a team, what we decided to do with Ovanova is we take $200 from every single customer and we put it into what's called the Ovanova Assurance Fund. So if there's any like obscure weird stuff like a squirrel, we take care of that. And that's so you guys can not have any fears associated with going solar. It's like, because that's what, you know, it's like John was talking about earlier. Unmet expectations create resentment. If you got solar and nobody told you that even if the sun was shining, you wouldn't have electricity if the grid was down, like it's good to know that ahead of time, but 90% of people who go solar, the salesperson never shares that with them. They find out the very first time the power's out and the sun's shining. They're like, what's going on? My solar's not working, right? And that's the kind of stuff we don't want happening because we need solar adoption. The real fundraiser here is the amount of money you guys save by paying yourself for solar equipment rather than never-ending electricity bill. And we want to take away every excuse people could possibly have. And that's why we're starting with education. So cost over time / maintenance was Steve's last thing. So we don't talk about this often, Steve, but in actuality, the cost over time goes down because one, every day that the sun comes up is a day that your solar equipment has turned sunshine into electricity that is worth money. So it's like literally having a money tree on your roof. But also, one thing people don't think about is what happens to the price of everything over time. It goes up. Electricity rates, historically, they go up about 5% each year, right? So if you extrapolate that for 25 years, that's crazy. Whereas the cost of your solar equipment is fixed. It's done, right? Sunshine's free and the solar equipment is a fixed cost. So your savings actually go up and up and up over time as utility rates escalate, and your sunshine's free. So hopefully that answered your question. Lindsay, you asked some super cool things. You asked if I move, I'm assuming my panels stay with the house. They're your panels. You can take them with you, but you will want to keep them at the house because your house will sell for more and it will sell faster. If you were house shopping and there were two houses right next door to each other, one came with a never-ending electricity bill and the other came with no electricity bill, which one would you want to buy? There's enough studies for this. You don't have to take my word for it, but houses with solar sell faster and they sell for more. It's like you'd probably pay more for a fridge that puts food inside of itself, right? A fridge that just keeps replenishing food. Well, a house that keeps electricity coming and coming and coming, that's worth more and people pay more for it. So you don't want to take them with you. You want to leave them there and then have us design a new design for your new house based on your new electricity needs. Because they'll be different based on the square footage and how you heat and cool your house and et cetera. But fantastic question. And then the last thing I saw was wooded area, don't get much sunlight. So, Lindsay, do you mind if I pull your house up just to look at it and tell you how much sunlight you actually get? It has your address on here, so it's got a little personal information. Are you comfortable with that? Okay. Yeah, I'll just pull it up.
Yeah, that's
cool. Continue without saving. Lindsay. Lindsay Kindle. Okay. So let's see how many trees you have. Oh my gosh. So this is in the middle of the street. Oh, there we go. It's not in the middle of the street. Oh, you get good sunshine. So the way this software program works is I'm going to click on these panels and you're going to see, wow, you have a lot of shading. So this is January through December. And what it's doing is it's calculating the sun's path over your house throughout the 12 months of the year. Because you know how in the winter, the sun is low in the sky. In the summer, the sun is high in the sky. So this is actually showing when you actually get decent sun on these panels, which is not that often. It's actually only 38% of the time do you get decent sun, okay? And then these panels back here, they have even worse. They get even more shade, okay? So first of all, I live in the woods and I have lots of shading. So it doesn't mean that you can't go solar. It just means unlike folks who have full sun exposure, you might not save money up front. You might be buying what's called like organic energy, right? Like, do you buy organic groceries for the family?
I try where I can, where it looks okay on the price tag.
Right. They're more expensive though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's worth it.
And why do you say that?
So that we're not, consuming GMO products and pesticides and
long term, maybe you spend less time on doctor bills or less money on doctor bills, right? Because you're eating healthy stuff. So same thing here, you might pay more because you don't have as much sunlight access, but you are paying yourself to own equipment that makes your house more valuable rather than a never-ending electricity bill. It's like, would you be willing to, let's say you were renting a place for $800 a month, would you be willing to pay $200 more each month to own that place eventually, right? And so that's kind of what your situation is. But my suggestion is this: you can actually factor in tree trimming into your zero down solar loan. So you can actually have some of this shading mitigated by not injuring or killing any of the trees, but actually doing some professional arbor work and exposing your roof to more sunshine. So essentially this 35 panel system is going to produce 53% of the electricity that you need. And it would produce 100% if you didn't have any shading issues. So what we're going to do when we send you your open book pricing template is you're going to actually see, and it's probably here. I'm sorry I didn't bring it up. Let me just see if it's Lindsay. Lindsay. I think it's this one. I think this is right. Let me just check. 35 panels. Yeah. Okay. So here's what this would look like if you didn't trim a single tree. Then what you would be able, again, you'd be offsetting 53% of your energy requirements. So you guessed $134 a month. Does that sound right? As an average electricity bill. So the solar would produce $71 a month. So that means that you'd still have, like somewhere around $65 that are left that you pay the utility company each month. And your solar loan would be $123 if you decided to do it zero down. So you'd actually be paying like $180 a month instead of $134 a month to go solar for your total energy costs. Now, that's if you didn't trim a single tree, and you'd find that tree trimming would be very valuable, even for your roof laying. I mean, trees over top of your roof, just the natural biological materials that fall out of trees degrade your shingles faster. And it's so either way, there might be some reasons to do some tree trimming, but even if you didn't, it'll at least give you, when you get your open book pricing tomorrow, some semblance of an understanding of what it would look like to produce your own electricity on site. I did a mixture of the two. I decided to trim some trees, but leave a bunch of them. So that way in the future, when we get an electric vehicle, we don't have to add solar panels. All we have to do is trim or take down some trees, and we'll have enough electricity to not only provide for our home, but also make up for our electric vehicle addition as far as that's concerned. And we can walk through it with you, Lindsay, and actually show you exactly what that could look like. And you could also do some sort of ground mounted system out here and show all the neighbors and be like, you know what, neighbors, we're going to put a bunch of panels out here and show you guys how cool it is to go solar, and you can put them right out in the sun. But you can have it any way that you want it, Lindsay. So again, the coolest way to do it, how when you go to the dentist, they have you set up your next dentist appointment while you're there because nobody likes going to the dentist, and they just get that out of the way. Well, going solar makes financial sense. And the journey of getting clear on what equipment you want. Do you want batteries? Do you not? Do you want 100% of your electricity? Do you want to produce 120% of your electricity from sunshine? Making those decisions can take under an hour. And all you do is you click the link in your open book pricing. There's one in a bunch of spots. Click it and pick a day and a time that is comfortable for you to meet back with us one-on-one on Zoom to get clear on it. Because again, the most expensive thing is all the months that it takes before your system is installed and activated, because you will find that going solar makes sense even more so when you do it through an organization like Ovanova. All it takes is just looking into it and continuing to explore. And I apologize if I have been in any way this evening that would deter you from doing that. I might not be that cool, but solar energy is, and please continue to look into it. So is there anything else that we might not have covered that you guys are curious about? It looks like go ahead.
I just have one really quick question, and then I'm done, and I actually got to drop off pretty quick here as well.
Of course.
So once you pay off your solar investment, whether you pay cash for it, your finance, or do whatever, and you're selling back all this electricity to the electric company, are you going to start getting a check from them then?
Who's your utility company?
With Lacucci, I can't even say it, something like that.
With a Lacucci. So
yeah.
So the answer to your question is, it depends on who your utility is. Sometimes the utility will write you a check. Sometimes they won't. But with a Lacucci, I think it's this one. With a Lacucci, WREC. Is that it?
Yeah.
It's an electric co-op?
Yep.
Okay. So they give you a full credit. Wholesale, stays with customer. Hold on. Battery or incentives. So there's no battery incentives. We have this. We keep this information in a spreadsheet. So, so the answer to your question is true up period, wholesale, total size. Yeah, it looks like what they'll do is they won't pay you for retail, but they'll pay you wholesale for overproduction. So that means that like normally they'll charge you 11 cents per watt. And in this case, they'll probably write you a check for like whatever your excess is for 3 or 4%. And I'm saying probably because I would need to refresh my memory on their net metering agreement, which is right here. And I'd be happy to, to answer that question in more details. But based on my first glance at our spreadsheet, without scouring over this again, because I don't have them all memorized by heart, they won't write you a check for the full cost of what they charge you, but they'll write you a check for the wholesale rate. And so what that means is it doesn't pay. It's not like a financial investment for you to overproduce. So it's not how you would retire,
Right.
but it's not shameful to produce 110% and produce a little extra and offset your customer charge, that charge to stay connected to the utility grid. It probably wouldn't pay off your customer charge. Yeah, actually, it says it's $35.04.
That sounds about right. I think that's what my neighbor said they're paying.
So when you have a customer charge that big, that's when it pays to maybe look into going off grid, because
Right.
that's like $35 every month. You're talking about like $1,000 a year, or
Just for fine, right?
sorry, that's not $1,000 a year. That's like $370 a year or something, $360. But over 10 years, that's $3,000. Over 20 years, it's $7,000 if they don't raise it. So, but yeah, there's all sorts of things to consider, and that's what we're just super solar nerds that love and care about people, who made our company's mission and our life mission to add as much value as possible to as many lives as possible. And we really think a world that makes sense is a world that runs off sunshine. So we're grateful for you guys. Thanks for being on with me so long tonight. We won't keep you this long in the future, but you guys kept asking questions, and I'll be here until you're done. No, I love it. I'll stay as long as you want, but just reach out to us, schedule a time one-on-one. We'll go slow. We won't base our design off of a guess that you made. We'll actually look at your last 12 months usage and get it exact. So you can go, all right, this is exactly what the deal is. If you want 15 kilowatt hours of batteries, then we can get the price exact, all that stuff. We don't have to have any black boxes or any we don't knows. It can be all clear, and you guys can make an educated decision on whether or not it makes sense for you guys to use sunshine. But again, speaking logically, and unless I lied to you guys tonight, a logical person would go, oh, I guess it makes sense to use free sunshine to generate my electricity, and I don't rent my home. Why would I rent my electricity? So y'all are going to buy electricity forever. You might as well buy it from yourself.
Perfect.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Anything else, fellow humans, that we can do to be helpful?
Nope. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're grateful for you guys. Buenos noches.
Good presentation. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you, Janice. Thank you for volunteering.